guess I'm never going to be a lawyer.
So I remember like faking it for 2 weeks. I know what OCI stood for.
Who are you when you strip away all the things that you've worked your whole life towards?
Seizing on opportunities other people are ignoring.
I'm a worse lawyer. I'm a worse partner.
Yep.
I'm a worse human.
I didn't know what to do.
I did get fired from my first law firm.
Every job has its stresses. Every job has its time demands. And especially for lawyers, it's a tough gig.
There's no stress-free law job.
As stressful as it was, I'm glad to have gone through it.
Which at the end of the day is a job, because if they stopped paying you, you'd stop going.
Yeah, exactly.
That was weak. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Non-Billable Hours. Before I introduce our guest today, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Please subscribe to the channel because it's free for you and it really helps this channel grow. And it's a lot of fun here. So subscribe now. Thank me later.
We eat now, we taste it later.
Today on the podcast, I have an old classmate of mine, Travis Usher. He is a partner at ZSA, and it's been a while since I've seen him, so I'm really excited to chat. He's a legal recruiter who's been connecting lawyers with opportunities across Toronto and the GTA for nearly a decade. He also plays the guitar, so he's way cooler than I am. So let's get into it. Hi, Travis.
Hi, Dad. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
So we went to law school together.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you once after. We did an interview together. That was the last time I saw you. I came to an office downtown.
So what's the craziest thing about that is that the in-office stuff, that's what interview, what are you talking about? Because since COVID,
Nothing?
We don't do any of that anymore.
You must have seen a lot of changes because you've been there a while.
Right after, on the way to get called at Roy Thompson Hall, I dropped off my signed employment agreements. Is that to say that's true? That's legit.
So you got called to the bar with a job?
Barely. It was like within minutes. Yeah,
That's
but
fantastic.
so there you go.
That's fantastic because I did not. Why did you go to law school in the first place?
I wish I had an interesting answer. The honest answer is I did not know what the heck to do.
Fair.
I guess the longer answer, so at the time, I just finished school, my master's, I was playing or trying to play music professionally. I was making no money. That lifestyle is super stressful. The girl I was living with at the time, she was like, I always really wanted to go to law school. You should go to law school. And I was like, I'm not going back to school. I'm not going back to school. And then we broke up and I'm like, the idea was in there.
She could do what I can do.
Well, it was kind of it's like Inception, right? It was just sort of planted. And it was, if I'm being honest, I didn't know what to do. I had, a bunch of undergrad masters in medieval history, right? Which was super interesting.
Yeah.
I love doing it. I love learning about it, but they weren't beating down my door with job opportunities.
Yeah. What do you do with it? So this is my thing. What do you do with a history degree? Because I went into undergrad actually studying archaeology.
Oh, cool.
Because I wanted to be Lara Croft. And then realized that that's not actually how real life is.
Well, because mine was medieval history, my fallback was knight at medieval times.
The one who turns evil. Spoiler alert.
I'm afraid of horses, so it probably wouldn't have worked out and stuff like that. I saw a police horse with my daughter the other day. She's like, that's so awesome. I'm like, we're going to stay far away from there because they're too big and scared.
So then did you do your master's after that?
No, so I did my undergrad, my master's at U of T.
Okay.
And then there was this sort of 2-year finding myself sort of period. So I applied to law school the first time, and this is a thing with me is I don't think things through strategically. So I'm I live in Toronto, I'll apply to U of T, right? It's where I went from my undergrad to my master's. Okay,
you think they would have some affinity for you,
right? So I didn't cast a wide net, right? I just did that.
You only applied to U of T.
Only applied to U of T.
Oh, that's like Elle Woods, where she just applies to Harvard.
She got in, right? So that's the thing. Yeah, I didn't. So that was my first shot, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it one more go, right? And I also felt, which is weird to say now, but at the time I felt old, right?
I
think I started law school 25, right?
Yeah. It's funny that you say that when you first applied to law schools, you only applied to U of T, and then you cast a wider net. Because I also didn't get into law school the first time I applied, but I applied to every law school in Ontario, and I didn't get in. U of T was the fastest to reject me. They were just like I hit submit, and I got a knock on the door, and they're like, no. Sweetie, honey, no. But then the second time I applied across the country. Yeah. And so I remember getting into places that were out of province and being like, this was a good idea when I applied, but do I want to go to a different province and then come back to Ontario and have to make that switch? So yeah. And then we went to Western together. Yeah. Did you get swept up in the OCIs and the infirms and the corporate law stuff?
100%.
Yeah.
And in my head, that's not me. So I remember like faking it for 2 weeks. I didn't know what OCI stood for. And I was also like too scared to like ask, right?
Yeah.
And then I did the same thing. I made the same mistake again. Instead of applying to every law firm, I was like, well, I don't know. Goodman's.
This one. Yeah.
Goodman seems cool. Like I know somebody there. Like, okay.
Right.
And like shocking, I didn't get an articling gig. You know what I mean? Like I didn't get a 2L. I didn't. And so like the law school, there was the academic part of it, but the big stress for me was I went through most of it not having an articling gig lined up. And that's what was frustrating for me. It's like everyone was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going doing this in the summer and stuff like this. It's like, yeah, I'm just like, I need to like get to that, you know, it's the bottlenecks, right? You got to get this piece of it. Otherwise the whole thing is like, whatever, right?
Yeah, I get that. OCIs, for anyone who's listening that doesn't know what they stand for on-campus interviews. So it's like the process where a bunch of firms come to your campus basically, and they like put us in this massive conference center. And it was like speed dating with all of the law firms. And then if they liked you enough, they asked you on a second date.
Are you writing yes or no while they're still sitting there?
Am I not supposed to?
Which was in firms where you would go downtown or in London, you know, you'd go to the firms in London. I massively underestimated how much of a game it was.
Same.
And how strategic
100%.
you needed to be, right? Yeah. So it was like firms, there was like telling firms they were your first choice when they weren't. And everyone would, and I've talked about this before, but there was a firm that wanted me, a 7-sister firm, and they were just like, all you have to do is tell us we're your first choice. And it was just like that, you know, kicking him under the table. And it's like, I think he's talking to you. Like, I just sat there and I was like, but you're not. But I didn't understand the game. And so I walked out of in firms not having anything.
Yeah.
And then got a job with a litigation firm, you know, by some stroke of luck, and articled there and didn't get hired back. So also, you know, kind of the thing where you go through the process and you do what you're supposed to do and you walk away from it not having anything, or maybe having like a very last minute thing. And it's a huge stressor that they don't really warn you for. Because they kind of talk about OCIs and infirms as though everyone who wants one's going to get one. And there's no preparation for what happens when you don't get it.
Yeah. Law schools do a lot of things really well.
Yeah.
And maybe it's changed, who knows? But at least when we were there, that's one thing I think that they don't do well.
Yeah.
If you fall out of the path, like, or don't want to do the path or whatever, they're sort of like, well, I don't know, you're right. And
see you later.
And it's tough. And again, you get that kind of thing, or at least I did that, because everyone else, as you said, like seems to have, oh yeah, well, I just went to OCIs and I did the thing and I got it.
Figured it out.
Everybody else did, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So there is that sort of like, whatever you call it, like, I feel like you failed a little bit, like that imposter sort of stuff. I had a lot of that going in anyway.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and so when I didn't do that, I was like, well, see, right, you shouldn't be here.
Right.
Kind of thing, right?
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I mean, there's so much time has since passed. Like, I'm so glad for all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because like, had it gone any other way, like, well, one, I might not be where I'm at now, and I really like where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But like, just the growth from it, like learning, like toughening you up a little bit, like all that stuff is super valuable. And as stressful as it was, I'm glad to have gone through it.
Yeah. It makes you grow.
Yeah.
And it makes you realize that like no matter what, you're gonna be fine. Like you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not it's the end of, when I didn't get any calls, like there was like that 5 p.m. we're gonna call you on this day, and I didn't get any calls, and I sat in my kitchen crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess I'm never gonna be a lawyer. you know?
Yeah.
But then you figure it out and you cry and then you move on.
I just wanted to listen to Taylor Swift alone.
It's interesting to think about if you would have gotten the thing that you thought you wanted, or people told you should want. If you would have gotten that, how your life might be different. Because all I wanted to do was be a partner in one of those big Bay Street law firms. That's all I wanted. And now that's the last thing I want.
Oh yeah.
Like, no, thank you. Like, I'm in-house. I'm in litigation, but there's no partner track. There's no billables. And I did work in that world for a while, but I thought that's what I wanted before I really knew what it meant.
Yeah.
Because you go to interview at these like Bay Street law firms and they take you to the floor that's like where they welcome you, and there's the artwork on the walls, and there's the pool table and the shiny couches. And then you go to where people actually do work, and it's like there's no windows. Like there's maybe a coffee machine, and that's just where you grind for 14 to 16 hours a day. And you think that you want that for some reason. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I honestly think if a law firm did hire me, I probably would have got fired. And because you were talking about not playing the game. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I did get fired from my first law firm.
I think if I had a catchphrase, it would be, "You're hired."
I needed something that was more like, whatever the cliche, entrepreneurial, self-guided, autonomous, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about my gig now is that I love my team. The company's awesome. Like like work family.
Yeah. So how did you get into recruiting? So you work for, you're a partner at ZSA.
Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
Like most people do, just accidentally, right? You're looking for like law jobs, and I had a couple interviews with small firms and stuff, and you're looking in Toronto, ZSA, like you just come across ZSA, my company, right? Like I applied. Like it was a Friday. I remember I was going to see a movie with my friends, and like I'm just like whatever. And I like in retrospect, I'm like proud of my younger self applying to something like kind of randomly. Yeah. Really just being open to different opportunities and stuff. And they hired me. And I have a debt of gratitude to like all of them because like I think they took a chance, right? It's interesting, very niche industry, and you kind of have to figure it out. And it's very kind of like self-propelled. Right. And so they're just like, okay, we'll take a chance on this kid and see how he does. And the first year was a disaster.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Why?
I didn't know what I was doing.
What was the biggest learning curve?
Recruitment is a weird space. It's a bunch of different things all at once, right? You have to have like super high EQ, right, to like deal with people. There's like a sales element to it as well, which I actually think, again, to me, sales is more about like listening than it really is talking. And I think it just took me a while to kind of like calibrate that and figure out how to kind of do it in like a way that like I enjoyed and I was good at and stuff like that. And also just like reps, like just getting repetitions. Like if you're cold calling people, if you're cold calling clients, even if you're just like interviewing people or whatever, you get better at it the more you do it. And I don't think in at least ZSA or recruitment or whatever, there's no way to like just train that into somebody. You got to just keep doing it until you get good or quit. Right? So it's just that kind of thing. So,
or fired.
yeah,
but
exactly.
that's like most areas of law or all areas of law and anything law adjacent is there's not really a practical element to our education, which I understand because how do you teach what we do in class? Like every area of law is so specialized that in order to get trained in all of them and see which one you like, you'd have to be in school for like 20 years. Yeah.
It's been 84 years.
So you're right. You just have to kind of hit the ground running and be like, okay, I guess I'll find my way of doing this.
Yeah. And it was after about that year mark where I started to, okay, like I'm not good at this yet, but I feel myself getting there. Where I was like, oh, I'm a headhunter. I'm a recruiter. Like, and I just like, I started to like wear it like with a badge of pride as opposed to like kind of like running away from it.
Couching it in an explanation.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm doing this right now kind of thing. No, it's like, that's, is what I do. So
absolutely. Yeah. Do you find when someone wants to make a change, either, like a small pivot or a big one, do you find that there's common themes or common threads as to why people want to change where they are? Yeah.
I mean, the big one in what we do in law is like, if you're at a firm, like I want to move in-house. Right? Yeah. So I'd be interested in your perspective on this too. Because a lot of folks that have only been in private practice, they see it as like the cure-all. Yeah. Right? Is that no billable hours. So, my stress level is going to go down. I'm going to get so much of my time back. Yeah, I got to take a pay cut, but that's fine. All this sort of stuff. And there are some jobs where you can get a lot of that, right? Where there is like a big material change. But it's not always. And every job has its stresses, right? Every job has its time demands and stuff like that, especially for lawyers. It's a tough gig, right? Like it's
there's no stress-free law job.
Yeah.
No.
So that's a big one. But I mean, there's typically where I look at it, three things to a job, right? The work, the money, the people. If you got two of those, you're probably good, right?
Yeah, as someone who went from private practice to in-house, it can take up as much time as you give it.
Yeah.
Especially in litigation. Like, yes, I still have hearings. Yes, I still have trials. And I would say that's one of the most stressful parts of my job that will take up all of your time, whether you're in-house or in a firm. Yeah. Like, if you're running a trial, there's no, oh, well, I'm in-house, so it's 4 p.m. I'm just going to log off for the day. Yeah. It's like, no, I got to prep my witnesses for tomorrow. So it does, my partner uses this analogy sometimes, but it's like it's smoke. It'll fill to whatever box you give it, or it's like a tap. Like there's always, if you leave it on, it's always going to be running.
What is that? It's like Parkinson's law, right? It's the task will fill the time allotted to it, right? If you got a day to do something, it'll take you a day. If you got a week, it'll take you a week, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. You were in-house and went to a firm.
Yes, and then went back in-house.
So if I can, I'm curious, like what attracted you out of in-house to a firm?
That's a good question. Yeah. So actually, someone who is now a friend, we met when things were still all in person. We met at Discoveries, and we just like really gelled. We were co-defendants on like a multi-party case, And he just like saw my style and they were hiring because I did. So I had a bit of a funny like jump. So I finished, got called to the bar. I went to a very small firm, like the tiniest firm, the most toxic place I've ever been in my life. And I was fired after less than a year. And so I didn't have a job for a little bit. And then I found my job at Desjardins, was there for a few years, loved it. Like wasn't thinking of leaving. My manager was great, team, everything. But I had never worked for a big downtown Toronto firm, which is in law school what I thought I wanted to do. Like that was my dream. And I was like, well, here's this opportunity. This firm is amazing. Like people there literally have written laws. And so I owe it to myself to see if this is what it is. Like if this is what I thought it was and if I fit here. And I was there for quite a few years and it was great. I made the change back to in-house because, you know, some things came up that required my time outside of my job. My dad needed more of my attention. And I was like, I can't care for him and work these hours anymore. I will burn out. So it wasn't that I wanted to leave the firm and go in-house. It was more so that I was like, I need to work less so that I can pay more attention to my family. But no, I was very lucky the firm I was at. It was really great. I had a lot of autonomy. I had a lot of, you know, good people there. Just other factors. Do you see a lot of people making the switch to in-house because of like family obligations?
I mean, that's the thing. Like law, it's so all encompassing to your life, right? And warps your mind where you kind of fold in being a lawyer into your identity, right? So coming to the realization that like, what is this all for? Like, why are we doing this in the first place, right? Work is important, right? It's super important for a lot of reasons. And I do think that, you know, the work that lawyers do is super valuable and it's like really fulfilling, right? But there's other stuff out there, right? And you gotta, you know, if you need the time to focus on other things, you have to find that.
Totally.
Right?
And if you make it, I have so many thoughts about making law your whole identity or any job your whole identity, and none of them are good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's any good that can come of making, especially a profession like law, your whole identity for so many reasons. You see people lose their job and they're like, now what?
Who am I?
Who am I?
Outside of this, which at the end of the day is a job, because if they stopped paying you, you'd stop going.
Exactly.
So it's a job. You can love it. You can love the people you work with. You can do, but it is a job. And so if you strip that away, who are you outside of that? And, you know, you can get into your 30s, like your early 30s, like I did, and be like, who am I outside of law? What do I like? What do I want? Who are you when you strip away all the things that you like worked your whole life towards? And I think a lot of people, you know, kind of in our age group are kind of trying to figure that out. You know?
I think the danger of having just one, and it doesn't have to be work, right? Like I am a this. That's actually, there's a lot of value and power to that, right? If you go, I am a this, and you focus on that, you can become a really good this, right? But you then limit yourself to other things. And what I've really kind of enjoyed about like how I conceive of myself and identity is like, I am a combination of these different things. And that makes me like one unit of Travis, right? But it also makes me unique, you know what I mean?
Of course.
I think for a lot of people where they're so like, right on the one thing and they work super hard, you know, laser focused on a thing. And then they get to that and they get the success and they get to that point. And then when they stop, they're like, it's like you said, I'm just the one thing. And that's fragile. And it's hard with work. It's like where we spend most of our time, right? So it only makes sense that you'd kind of fold that in. And like I said, there's power to that. And I think a lot of negatives to it as well. But
older lawyers who I loved, adored, I didn't want them to retire, but I was like, when are you going to retire? And they're like, what would I do? And I was like, what wouldn't you do? What do you mean? There's a whole world out there. You're healthy, you've got family, or you've got whatever. Like, oh, do something else. You know, don't die at your desk. It's the last thing I want.
No, thank you.
It's not a very flexible industry. You know, it's very set in its ways. Like, I remember it took a pandemic to be able to serve documents via email.
I know.
Fax.
What is that?
And mail were the only ways that I was allowed to serve documents until literally
Fax.
the world shut down. Fax.
That's awesome.
It felt like you were in the 90s. Felt like Clippy was going to come over and seems like you're trying to serve a document. You mentioned a music background. So do you still do music? Like, do you have, Okay, so tell me, what do you do? Play music, I guess, not do music.
Like, so I still play guitar pretty much every day. And I'm a night owl, and some like a big thing with me. Like once I accepted that about myself, my life got so much simpler.
Right,
and
because
stuff
you weren't
like
like,
that.
I gotta get at 5 a.m.
Yeah,
be,
exactly.
Successful.
Yeah. So, and it was good when we had our kid too, because my wife would just go to bed and I would just be on the night shift, right?
Nice.
Which I loved. So
Yeah.
Before law school, like I played in bands and I taught guitar. I still teach a little bit. I think it's really important, and it doesn't have to be music, having like something outside, like there's not an end to music. Like you can always learn more, you can always get better. And having that sort of like task that's creative to focus on, that you can just put headphones on and do it kind of almost anywhere, almost any time. Hugely important to me. I don't care if like nobody ever hears me play ever again.
Right.
That's not important to me.
Right.
It's like, this is for me.
Yeah.
It also keeps me in touch with like my 16-year-old self, because I was.
And have a wonderful time.
So there you go. But
did you keep it up in law school, or did you you did? Good for you.
I think it kept me sane too, because like we're talking about the stress of not having an articling job, a 2L job, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was that thing that was from like the before time that was like identity, like the continuity of my identity, right?
Totally.
Is like, this is the guitar player, heavy metal guy piece of Travis that still exists, right? So
good for you. I shed so much of me when I got to law school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just let it all fall away. Kind of stopped everything and just like put all of I'm a law student. This is all I do. This is the only thing. I don't remember doing anything for fun during law school.
Yeah,
I
don't remember having much fun in law school. I remember drinking. I don't remember.
Were you at the Dennings every week? Because I got voted most likely to skip Dennings to study.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
I like the school part of law school. The actual like
The
learning things.
Me too.
Especially like the stuff that like the farther away you get from relevancy, like the more I liked it, right? So like the philosophy classes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, that was a cool thing about first year, right? Like I think there's a lot of value to like all these different opinions about how you could change law school, right?
Yeah.
But I think first year, where they're like you're reading case law and stuff, like it does really kind of change the way you analyze things and think about things. I think in a positive way. That was the closest it got to like vocational training, right? Where it's like we're teaching you a skill. It also felt like this is how it's been taught for 100 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So like I thought that was cool too, right? Is that there is a sort of
you're
like
a history guy.
Yeah, there's a sort of like tradition element to it. But after that, right, when you get to 2L and 3L, where it's more like, okay, in Canada it's this statute and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's why I gravitated more towards some of the more esoteric kind of stuff, right? Because it was more open-ended, kind of interesting sort of stuff.
Fair.
Or at least for me anyway. So
That's totally fair. I miss learning. Like in a classroom setting. And I
Yeah.
know that's weird, but I loved the learning. We had some amazing profs.
Yeah.
We really, really
Wesleyan's
did.
a great school. Like
It really is. Yeah. We were super, super lucky. And I was really impressed with some people in our school who knew that they didn't want to go that corporate route off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They knew themselves already. And I was like, how do you know what you want? This is what they're telling us to do.
In my sort of like circle of friends, the folks that I hung out with most of law school, there were a couple of them that they kind of grew up in smaller towns and they wanted to go back to their small town and be a lawyer. And I haven't checked on them in the last little bit, but I think they're still there. I think they're partners now.
Yeah.
Probably have a huge house, right? You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, and that's another thing too. Like when I talk to junior lawyers who are maybe like struggling with the Toronto market who fill out of that's something I tell them is that like there's more to Ontario than Toronto.
Right.
And there are law firms that are just hurting for people, right? And look, if you live in the city, it's a slog to like look outside of it.
Totally.
But I worked with a guy who he practiced in Muskoka for most of his career.
Oh, okay.
Right. He's doing like real estate, it's like high-end real estate, right? Cottages and stuff like that, and like corporate and stuff like that. Yeah. He was telling me that, he was making really good money. He, was working, 40-hour week or something close to that. He wanted to retire, he had this plug and play practice. He could not find anybody
to take it over.
To take it over. And that's why he called me, because he's like, can you help me like find someone? But everyone is so focused on Toronto, right?
Yeah.
And I get it, like, of course, it makes sense. But
we live here. We think it's the center of the universe. It's not.
Not only from a sort of like being true to yourself kind of thing, but even just from a like strategic career path kind of thing. It's like seizing on opportunities other people are ignoring, right? Because they're caught up in something,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
So, and I don't know how much, I guess it still is around, right? But like the whole competitive thing about how much can I destroy myself?
Yeah.
And the more I destroy myself compared to you, the better I am.
Yeah.
Right? Which is crazy.
It's nuts.
Right?
It's so
it's like, yeah, but it's also like you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I expect you to die.
The idea to me of like sacrificing like your physical health, like for a job, and you have to balance it, right? Like again, you can't live a stress-free life. There's sometimes you want to do one thing, you got to do something else. That's a part of it. If you're, not taking time to eat well, I'm not saying you got to go to the gym, lift weights, but like, go for a walk.
Velociraptor.
Go to your eye doctor.
Yeah, well, go to the doctor. Yeah,
didn't go for 2 years. I had my first eye appointment like a few weeks ago, and it had been 2 years because I kept putting it off because I was busy.
Yeah.
Like, I get 2 eyes. You know how many legal jobs are out there?
Exactly.
Millions.
Yeah.
I get 2 of these, and I put it off for an extra 12 months because I was like, well, later, I'm busy.
Such a cliche, but it's like, really all you have is your health, right? If you're sick, you can't work, right? So if you're getting older and stuff like that, and you've just neglected, like it's the little tiny decisions that add up with health and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
They catch up to you, and then it's like, what are you going to do? Part of my gig, right? We go to a lot of events, a lot of work stuff.
Yeah.
Where we host stuff. It's a lot of fun, but just kind of wrapped into that is booze. Like I had to make the conscious decision. I'm just not drinking at work stuff anymore.
Good for you.
Like, and it was hard.
Yeah.
Right. Like it makes those things feel more like work. You know what I mean?
There's
but
no
but
social
but I was
distancing.
doing this thing where it's like, I'm looking back and it's like, take out just like stuff I'm doing on my own for like fun, going to a bar with my friends or having, a drink with my wife or something like that. Like this Tuesday I had, a few beers, and then like on Wednesday I had this lunch, and then, and it's like, you add it all up. And that's what I mean, but sort of like the one decision seems small, but if over a year, if you count it, it's like, this is crazy, destructive, right? So I've really, stripped that back, kind of pick your spots a little bit more. But like, that was one thing where it's just like work stuff, I'm just gonna not. So,
Good for you. Do you find there's any pushback or like judgment or?
Maybe there is. I have enough of kind of like, I want to do my own thing attitude, like where I don't care.
Good.
Right. So I've never felt that. And if anybody had a problem with it, like, what do I care? You know what I mean?
No, totally.
Peeling that off of my identity and changing my relationship with alcohol and being like, no, you can have a beer, or you can still go out and go to a party and also just not drink.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So that's been like a more recent thing for me, and it's been challenging, but it's been really like rewarding.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I have a young daughter, right, and like kind of getting older and stuff like that. You want to be around, you want to be healthy and stuff like that.
Of course. And like you said, we sacrifice or tend to, especially in the law. I know people in other professions like medicine and stuff, like you put your health on the back burner, and I will take care of myself when I'm done exams. When
you can push that.
Oh my God.
Forever.
You can push it forever, and then you're 80 and you can't move. You can't get out of the chair unassisted. And now you want to live out your golden years with all the money that you've worked so hard to make. And you're
spending it all on healthcare.
Exactly.
Medication.
Exactly. Yeah. Pause.
How's the race?
Oh, I'm sure she's killed it. Going back to like the whole working your life away and not taking care of yourself, like to me now running has become non-negotiable.
That's how I'm with the gym. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like there will be time in my day for a run. And if that means some work doesn't get done, sorry, but that means some work doesn't get done because honestly, without that, I'm a worse lawyer, I'm a worse partner, I'm a worse human, and it's just become non-negotiable, I
asked my wife how crazy I went during the pandemic when they closed the gyms.
Oh my gosh.
Like it wasn't like my mental health went down. And it was kind of crazy like how much it affected me.
Yeah.
Like I really think like it's good for like do anything, right?
Anything.
Any sort of movement, like it could be yoga, Pilates, like whatever, find your thing. I'm still not a sports guy. If you asked me to throw a baseball right now, I wouldn't know how to do it. Right? So like, sports is not my thing. Yeah. Like I just like dig the gym.
Oh, a game.
Like kind of 8:30 a.m. to like 10:30. Yeah. That's for me. Yeah. I don't book calls. I don't book meetings. Like if there's something super freaking important, I mean, in my business, like I think you can move things till noon, it's not a big deal. But like that has become sort of like my time that is like, another thing too is like, you can call me, I'll answer at the gym, you know what I mean?
Right,
like but that time for me is like non-negotiable. Yeah. But for me, I make it up in other ways. I mentioned before, I'm a night owl, right? Yeah. So like I'll usually work at night, but I like it.
Yeah.
You know, like talk about caffeine before, cup of coffee, energy drink, put on some tunes, you know, my wife goes to bed, my kids in bed and stuff like that. Like I'm actually like, there's nothing about that that's stressful for me, or it's like, oh, I got to get to bed, I got to do this. I really quite enjoy it. So that's sort of like, for me, the trade-off. I'd much rather have that time. I'm useless in the morning anyway. So it's like, I've realized that like I need to not be on the phone, like kind of before 11 or something like that, because like what comes out of my mouth is just like goop.
I love the mornings, and even sometimes I'll write an email to my assistant at like 7 a.m. and she'll be like, what were you talking? I'm like, sorry, that was pre-coffee. That was pre-coffee meeting. Yeah. But I like getting up early, doing some hours of work so that I can take my break to run. Because I don't love getting up and going running right away. I like to have my coffee, eat some breakfast. But so that's kind of my schedule, where I get up super early, I start working, but then I take that break. Yeah, okay. That you kind of need. Before I was married, before I had kids, like I would go to the gym like late. Right, because that's when I felt most kind of like jazzed up and stuff like that. Yeah. But now, like doing something physical and hopefully like somewhat difficult, like in the morning, kind of like you get the sort of the endorphin release and stuff like that.
Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
And it just puts me in a better mood. Yeah. And then just also kind of ticking something off, like, okay, I've already accomplished something. Totally. Allows me to focus more on my day. Because I found before, when I was like, had all that stuff to do later, I'd be distracted by it. I'm like, I gotta get this done, I gotta get there. So like again, I don't like getting up early. 8:30 is not early, but for me it is. Yeah. That's been a nice kind of thing, and something that I've protected, right? And I'm lucky enough that, you know, I've been with my company long enough, and I know what I'm doing, where it's like there's no issue with that. Totally. Right? So, totally. Yeah. I see these like glamorizing. Now there's like this glamorized back to the hustle culture, and I'm on this like weird side of TikTok and Instagram reels where it's shooting me like young women who are like, welcome to a day in my life as a big law associate in New York City. And it's like, I get to the office at 7 a.m. And then they're just like at their desk till 7 p.m. And it's like, a black car service takes me home. Then I get home, then I make dinner and shower, and I'm back on like turning comments on contracts till 2 a.m. And I'm like, sounds like hell. When do you call your mom? Yeah. When do you see your friends? When do you touch grass? When do you make meals? Like, why don't, no Subway? Like, no, thank you. That's just how I feel. I like to ask my guests a really random question. Okay. But before I do that, if people want to connect with you, if they want to find you, work with you, where can they find you? Oh yeah, find me on LinkedIn. There you go. If you go to our website, all the stuff is up there. I think my phone number is on. Give me a call, shoot me a text. Like, I'm easy to get a hold of. So you just Google me. There's not a lot of Travis Ushers out there. I have a weird name. So that's true. There you go. There you go. Thanks, Travis. Yeah. All right. So here is my question for you. Okay. What is something that used to really stress you out that doesn't anymore? So here's my answer. My job. There you go. Okay. So, Love it. Yeah, let me unpack this a little bit. Yeah. Like what we do is, it can be very intense, and it's very like emotional. You're getting really involved with people in their lives and stuff. And not to get too much on this side of it, but it's also a commission-based thing, right? Of course. You know, there's always that sort of pressure that's kind of different from some other jobs, where it's like, if I don't perform, right, it affects like my income, right? Yeah. And so, you know, this isn't about like, okay, like, you know, making as much money as I can, right? Like that's you know, we all want to do well, right? But, you know, it's about, am I going to pay rent? Family, kids, daycare, all this sort of stuff. It's like real practical stuff. So when you're making placements, when things are good, when you've got a lot in the pipeline and stuff, it's like, you know, you feel good, you know, and the highs are, if this is baseline, like the highs are here, but the lows, when you like, you know, 3 offers turned down, you know, pipeline looks weird, are real low, right? Right. I made this sort of conscious decision, like, I guess it was a New Year's resolution, which is so corny, but where I was like, I am just going to give myself permission, like, not to care about it as much. Not because I'm not going to keep showing up and performing and stuff like that, but it's like so much of what we do is out of our control. Yeah. When it comes down to it, I can work with someone, I can play devil's advocate. Is this the right role? Is this sort of thing? I can't, there's no magical sentence, no like wizardry I can say to you to make you change your job. So a lot of it is out of your control. If you've done everything you can to kind of like, you know, be the best consultant to someone who's looking to switch jobs, if you've been the best sort of service provider to a client, if you can really like say that I did, then if they take the job, if they don't take the job, okay. Yeah. Right. One of my bosses, Warren, right, he's been doing this forever, and he has a tremendous amount of chill. Yeah. Right. And so I was like, I want more of that. And I think like before it was like a lot of emotional swings and stuff. And early on, I think that helped me get really engaged. And it's like, okay, like I really care about this.
Of course.
Right?
It's your driver.
Yeah, but now as you've been doing something long enough, you feel like you're half decent at it. You can give yourself permission to sort of not feel like everything's going to work out, but trust that like it's not just luck. Is that there's an ability here, a skill that's been developed, and that, you know, if this one doesn't work, the next one really will. So not that I'm surprised at my answer, but like, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
And recognizing that other people have agency. So like you said, like they're going to make the decision they're going to make. You can assist, you can, you know, try to help, you can encourage, but at the end of the day.
Well, a lot of recruiters fall into this trap where they look at the people they work with as like widgets, right? And they forget there's like a person with like a family and like kids, and like they care about things, and they have like real experiences and stuff, and agency and stuff like that. It's not just like another like notch on my spreadsheet. A lot of recruiters forget that because you do it so much, right?
Of course.
Like, oh, here's this person, and stuff like that. I've really tried throughout my career to remember like that the person on the other end of the phone is a person, and that like they have like their life experiences just like I have it, and this is their job. This is super, super important. Approaching it with that respect, sensitivity, and because of that, they've got agency. They're going to make a decision that's best for them. If I can help them kind of make that decision faster or easier, or just go through the process more quickly, cool. And that's what I'm here for. So
I love that answer. And it's funny. It reminds me of a lawyer at my last firm that I just absolutely love. His name's Ray. And he is like one of the best trial lawyers. Like I had him on speed dial for my first ever trial. And I was in his office freaking out because I was first chairing my first jury trial. And I went to his office and he sat down with his like coffee. He put his feet up on his table and he goes, at the end of the day, what if you lose? And I was like, well, I'll be embarrassed. He was like, will you wake up the next day? I'm like, yeah. He's like, will you still be employed here? I'm like, I hope so. He's like, okay, the client knows what they're doing. They're sending you to trial. They've assessed the risks. You're going to go, you're going to do your best. But like, why are you losing sleep over it?
Yeah.
Why are you freaking out over it? And I remember that. And I have a very hard time separating my emotions from and my stress from my job. But it's a really good reminder that at the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to have their agency. In my case, they're going to take my offer, or they're not going to take my offer. In your case, they're going to take the
offer or not take the offer.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
It's the same thing. And they're going to make those decisions. And you just kind of have to be okay whatever they do.
Yeah.
And you're going to be okay whatever they do.
And to not catastrophize, right? Because that was the thing I did when I was younger. Is sort of like, and that goes in with imposter syndrome too, where it's like, okay, this deal fell through. You know, maybe the next one will fall through. Maybe I'm never going to make a placement again. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was all just luck up until now, and I'm finally getting what I deserve.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Shedding that. That's a weird form of narcissism too, right? Where it's like the universe is very focused on you because it's trying to get you.
Totally.
And it's like, no, it's like we're just one amongst billions of people, and not insignificant. We're all important, but.
We are important, but
the universe isn't out to get you. Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah. And when you zoom out, it's like we're all just these tiny. I've been saying this a lot lately. I'm like, we're all just like meat bags on a rock floating through the universe. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like does anything really matter that much?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So you it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. Well, Travis. Lovely having you here.
Yeah, thank you so
much. And this was a great chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. All right. That was my conversation with Travis Usher. Travis, thank you so much. It was so great to catch up. If you have a lawyer or anyone that you think would benefit from this episode or this podcast, please share it with them. It would be really appreciated by me. And until next time, bye. I was very distracted with watching the race, so I wasn't as much help setting it as in here being like, Rachel's got a 5K left. Is that all right? I have an idea. Mushroom. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. I get so energized talking to people.